What is going on, trainers? DrumVillain here, bringing you some more Pokemon Go PvP content, and today we're taking a look at a Great League remix team, and this is going to be a team utilising Magcargo. Now, Magcargo did get an update to its moves in Season 10. It got access to Incinerate and Rock Tomb. Incinerate is a fantastic fast move for damage and energy, and Rock Tomb is great as, not really as a bait move, but it's good for debuffing your opponent's attack and good chip damage on top. It helps pressure shields out of opponents because it could potentially be a Stone Edge which would hit hard, and then it means that you've got more time to get that fast move damage in with Incinerate and really wear opponents down over time. It also has access to Overheat, which is a very strong fire type charge move, but it does double debuff your attack when you throw it. So for that reason, we're going to put Magcargo on the lead. I think it's probably best as a lead or as a closer and not so much as a safe swap. I could be wrong on that, but for me personally, I think it's best run in the front or the back, not as your pivot point on a team. So I'm going to put it on the lead. Then we've got the option of throwing an Overheat early on in game and swapping out and get a lot of shield pressure on opponents. On the safe swap, we're going to run Pelipper. Pelipper's a fantastic safe swap in any meta that it's welcoming, and then Trevenant in the back as well. Trevenant can also be used as a safe swap on this team, since a lot of the hard dart types like Umbreon, Sableye, Mandibles, they're all banned. So it's got a bit more room to work with as a safe swap and is less likely to be really shut down. Now, these battles are from very early on in the season, the first couple of days. In fact, that doesn't mean that this isn't a strong team. I really do think that this is a very valid, strong team to use in the Great League Remix, and it doesn't mean that we're not coming up against some meta lines here. Now, the first matchup we actually got for you here is a Shadow Gramble lead, and you'd think this is a brilliant lead for Magcargo because it's resisting the charms, and you can see Shadow Gramble's charm damage is absolutely disgusting, and he's still doing massive damage to Magcargo, but we are resisting it here, and we're going to be able to throw a Rock Tomb, debuff the attack, and then we've got more time to get pressure with the Incinerates. And obviously Shadow Gramble is so squishy that that Rock Tomb would do massive damage either way. Now, the opponent makes a fantastic play here. We were in a position to just be able to farm down and have a lot of energy to throw at whatever came in after, so they swap out last second into Machamp to snipe us down, and that is absolutely horrendous for us. We lose a buttload of energy. That Gramble's still alive with a sliver of health, but we're able to bring in Pelipper very quickly to that Machamp, throw a Weather Ball, take it straight out before they're able to get to a Rock Slide and force a shield out of us. And in the back, they've got a Gardevoir, and this is pretty spicy for the Great League, but it's also this is quite a high pressure fast move team this opponent's running, and that can be very, very effective if you get the right lineups with teams. If we didn't have a hard counter for Gramble in the front, we probably would have struggled with just the fast move pressure from this team. But we've got a shield, we're able to shield up, farm down the Gardevoir, and there's nothing the opponent can do, so we're going to take that first win. Now let's take a look at a pretty awful lead that we ran into pretty much straight after that matchup, and this is a Diggersby lead. Now, Diggersby lead is a very, very hard counter to Magcargo. Even the mud shots that are double super effective will chip away, just because anything that's double super effective, even if it's not a damage oriented fast move, is going to add up. We actually safe swap into Pelipper. You could make an argument that Trevenant is a better safe swap for that lead because Pelipper is very much a hard wall to Diggersby, whereas Trevenant, it's still resisting its ghost damage, so it's not as hard of a punish, but we're able to land a Hurricane on that Wigglytuff, take it out. So that means we've got switch advantage. We can line Trevenant up here, and yes, Diggersby has access to Fire Punch, which is super effective, but we can comfortably survive one, although they can comfortably survive one. Seed Bomb here, it's not the best grass move. It's great as coverage, but it's not super high pressure, and also Diggersby is very, very bulky. Actually, we might be able to survive two Fire Punches here. You can see that that Fire Punch did about maybe like 40-45%, and then the Mudshot damage is chipping away on top. We are going to shield up though, since we got a spare one to use. We had one up on the opponent since we managed to bait a shield out of them against their Wigglytuff. They actually catch a Seed Bomb on Drapion, which is absolutely horrendous for us, but we've got Magcargo, we swap into this thing, and we just got to hope that they don't have Aqua Tail. Not many Drapions run Aqua Tail, most run Crunch and Sludge Bomb, but Aqua Tail will be double super effective and will take us out. So we just have to gamble, we have to not shield. It's a Crunch, it doesn't even do half. Now we're going to be able to farm down. We don't need to shield this. We need to save a shield for Trevenant, for a Fire Punch from that Diggersby. But if we can get to an Overheat on this Diggersby, that's going to be fantastic. This is going to either force a shield or take them out. So let's see what they decide to do. They're going to shield it up. So now they are going for a really aggressive farm down. We're trying to swap out. We can't quite get it. Now we've got to pray that either they've only got one Fire Punch, which I'm pretty sure they've got 2. They've got a big farm. Or that we can make it to this Seed Bomb. This is going to be super close, a super clutch game if we can just get it off. We're just able to get to the Seed Bomb, and this should take out the Diggersby and should give us this win. So against an awful lead that our team would really struggle with, but still able to take that win, thanks to Pelipper really as a safe swap, able to flip that mid-game against the Wigglytuff. Alright, up against the next trainer here, and we've got a Cradley lead. Now, Cradley is a pretty interesting pick in the Great League. It's got Bullet Seed as a fast move, which is fantastic energy generation. I think it has access to Stone Edge as a charge move, and does it have a grass? I think it has a grass charge move as well. The opponent pivots out into Hypno, and we decide to throw an Overheat and land it for massive damage before swapping out to Trevenant. We could have swapped straight to Trevenant, but I think we felt more comfortable being able to throw the Overheat, either force a shield or put the Hypno in farm down range, which gives us a lot more play against the Cradley. Trevenant has good play against Cradley either way because you're resisting the Bullet Seeds. They have to go for Stone Edge really to hit you for big damage to take us out. We decided to call the bait. They do throw the Stone Edge and take us out. They do have a shield advantage on us. They've got Politoed in the back, and we're not quite able to swap out. We want to swap and catch the Weather Ball, but we're not able to get it. So we are going to shield this. We feel like all that health on Magcargo is worthwhile, and we know now we can get to a Rock Tomb. Since they'd already thrown, we knew they didn't have enough energy to get to 2 Weather Balls before we can throw this, and that's going to debuff this Politoed's attack. And the reason we decide to go for this option is this means that if the Politoed has Blizzard and lands it, it will not take us out. Since we've debuffed their attack, they're going to struggle to take us out. We're going to get to a Hurricane here. Are they going to shield it? We need them to let this through really, because otherwise we're going to really struggle. They do shield. This is pretty unfortunate. This opponent might be taking the win if we can't get to a Rock Tomb. We're going to see they swap out to Cradley. This gives us a win condition. Now we can farm down, get to a Rock Tomb, and ideally take out the Politoed. If they'd have just stayed in with Politoed against Pelipper, we might... Oh, no, the Cradley takes us out. We had a win con. Well, we didn't really have a win con. I think really we should have swapped straight to Trevenant against the Hypno, and then maybe not have had to shield the Shadow Ball. I don't know. Or maybe we should have not shielded the Magcargo against the Politoed, just let it go down, save the shield for the Pelipper, and ideally sweep the whole back end of the game. But either way, we're going to go into the next matchup, and again, another Diggersby lead. This is absolutely horrendous for us. In this game, we are going to swap into Trevenant as our safe swap and see what we can do here. The opponent is stopping in and deciding to throw a Fire Punch, so we're going to throw a Seed Bomb and get some nice damage off of them. You can see that we're kind of hitting for roughly the same amount of damage with the charge move. Seed Bomb's hitting for just less than half, Fire Punch hits for just less than half, but unfortunately they're double resisting the Shadow Claws and we're only single resisting the Mud Shots. So I don't think Trevenant is really in the strongest position here in this game, but they are going to choose to swap out into an Abomasnow, and I think they want to get an aggressive farm down on us here, but we're going to get to a Shadow Ball. It's going to do big damage, let it through, and now our switch clock is up, so we're just going to swap straight into Magcargo. We're not going to shield this up, we're going to see what they decide to throw at us. It's an Energy Ball, hits for pretty big damage there, and we're hoping to farm down. We're able to get it with Magcargo, and now we've got energy. With energy, we can threaten Diggersby. We're going to go straight for an Overheat. This lands, it's probably going to take them out. It does massive damage, bang! Diggersby's gone, and now they've got a lower Marowak in the back. We're going to get to this Rock Tomb and debuff their attack. They're going for a farm down, I think, or they really want to build up some energy before they take us out, but they're going to struggle. They're able to get it though. But we've got Pelipper in the back, and I think they would have to realistically land probably 3 Shadow Bones. Maybe just 2 Shadow Bones would do the job, but they're actually going to throw a Shadow Ball, yeah. So it does just less than half with a Shadow Ball, so it would have taken 3 Shadow Bones with the debuff to take us out. But they have to land 2 Shadow Balls at least, and they're not going to be able to get them before we get to this Weather Ball, even with all that energy, and we're going to take them out and take the win. As I've said, Pelipper is very strong in any meta that it's allowed in, and the main thing it tends to struggle with is with bulky Pokemon that really just outlast it in terms of damaging each other. And a lot of those bulkiest Pokemon are actually banned, like Azumarill and Umbreon and things like that it can kind of struggle to put enough work in on. So here in the Great League Remix, it's got a lot of play. This next matchup, we've got a Dragalge lead, and this is horrendous. We don't really have... We could swap out into Trevenant or into Pelipper here, but honestly, it's such an iffy matchup with all 3 of these Pokemon. Dragalge is quite a spicy, interesting pick for the Great League Remix for sure. It's got some solid play. We decide we're going to throw a Rock Tomb and then swap to Trevenant. We decide we need to get Magcargo out of there. I think Magcargo's one of the biggest advantages that it has is the pressure from the Incinerate damage, and when that's resisted, it can really struggle in longer matchups. So we decided to swap out Pivot and then ideally line Pelipper up, hopefully maybe land a Hurricane against it later on in the game. They've given up all their shields, so really we're in a good position to get a Hurricane onto the Dragalge. And since they brought in Diggersby to meet our Trevenant, we're going to let this go down. Well, we don't have a choice, we've used up our shields as well. And now we can bring in Pelipper. I think we're going to bring in Pelipper, yeah, because Pelipper walls all the charge moves from Diggersby, so we're free to build up a lot of energy here. The Earthquake's double resisted, the Fire Punch is single resisted and is non-stab. Look at that, does almost nothing. So we're going to build up, and now we're going to throw. We're pretty close to 100 energy, not quite there, but not far away either. So we've got a lot of energy to put pressure on, and they bring in a Jirachi, and this is kind of iffy. We're going to try to swap out to Magcargo, see what the opponent decides to do. And we're going to ideally try and get to this Rock Tomb. We're not able to get it off. This is probably going to be an Aqua Tail and going to take us out. It is. That's fine. We're going to have to go for a Hurricane because Weather Ball is going to be resisted and not going to be enough to take out this Dragalge. And then we're going to have to go for Weather Ball spam. But this Jirachi is going to have energy. It's going to have a Doom Desire. And even though it's resisted, it is going to be enough to take us out. Oh, not quite actually, but we're not going to survive that confusion once it registers after this Weather Ball, and this won't be enough. Yeah, we have to land 2, ideally. Maybe we should have gone and just tried to spam multiple Weather Balls into the Jirachi at first when it first came in. It's hard to say. We were in a tough position there with that Dragalge lead. It really did put us on the back foot. Next lead up is a Drifblim lead, and this is a pretty, I'd call it a neutral lead. Trevenant would do well against Drifblim, but also they both have to be shielding each other's moves up. Pelipper does okay against Drifblim because the Icy Wind doesn't do that much pressure. Now this opponent actually swaps out into a Wobbuffet, a return Wobbuffet, and this must be a level 50. That's an absolutely appalling Pokemon. And the good news for us is that Trevenant really shuts this down. It's resisting the counter damage, it's resisting the return damage, so they have to go for Mirror Coats, and it's not a very hard hitting move. We go for a Undercharge on the Shadow Ball to get a Shadow Claw farm down, so we've got energy to threaten this Drifblim. Now that it's coming back in, we're going to be able to get a shield out of him or just annihilate this floating boy. And I'm kind of surprised the Drifblim opted to swap out unless they've got another counter to Magcargo in the back. But either way, we're not lined up with it now. We're fine to keep Magcargo here. They've actually got a Gramble, and we panic and swap out into Pelipper, which I don't think is the best move, but also I think a Weather Ball would do massive damage because this Shadow Gramble is so squishy. If we're able to get to 2, we just are 1 HP and a Dream. This is going to take out the Gramble, and then we should be able to get to a Rock Tomb on Magcargo and take out this Drifblim and give us the win. Now this Drifblim does have a fair bit of energy. They might have 2 moves here, they might not. I might not have been counting right, but this is a Shadow Ball. They can't store 2 Shadow Balls. Is Shadow Ball 55 energy? I believe it is. So I don't think they can store back-to-back Shadow Balls. We'd have to land another Hex in between. We're already at the Rock Tomb. We take them out. We take the win. XL Purified Wobbuffet is absolutely appalling in the Great League. It's disgustingly strong. It's got stupidly high defense and HP stats. I mean, you saw how well it was taking those moves, even from Trevenant. But if you got something to hard shut it down, you don't have to worry about it. Otherwise, in a lot of neutral matchups, you are going to struggle against an XL Wobbuffet. Now, we've got a Drapion lead in this game, and I class this as a good lead only because it keeps Drapion away from Trevenant. Drapion having access to Crunch puts a lot of pressure onto Trevenant. This opponent's going to swap out into a Greedent. So again, we're going to go for the usual tactic. They swapped out, we had the energy, so we're going to throw the Overheat for absolutely monstrous damage, and then bring in Pelipper, and we might be able to wing attack this down. We might not. Greedent's pretty bulky, and that Body Slam spam is real. So we're actually just going to throw a Weather Ball straight away, take them out, or get a shield out of them. We are able to take them out and maintain switch advantage. We're all leveled out on shields here, and I think this Drapion either has to land. I don't think Crunch will quite take us out. They have to go for a Sludge Bomb here to take us out. They do. It's going to wipe us out, and we're going to bring in Magcargo once again. We're pretty sure that they're not running Aqua Tail, otherwise they would have been throwing it at us by this point in the game. So we're just going to let this go through. We're going to call that they don't have it, And now we're going to get to this Rock Tomb, and this is either probably going to take them out or get a shield to see what they decide to do. Going to let it go down. We're going to bring in Trevenant straight away, and they've got a Pelipper. And we can cope with Pelipper on even shields because I think we get to Seed Bomb at about the same pace they get to Weather Ball. We can survive a Weather Ball because it's resisted, and it's the wing attack damage that's really going to add up over time. We are going to shield because they built up to Hurricane, and we know that we can get this Shadow Ball off, because if we shield that up, they're going to throw a Weather Ball that wouldn't take us out, and they have to build up more for a Hurricane anyway, so getting baited didn't matter in that situation. GG. Don't forget guys, if you're enjoying the video, consider subscribing or liking the video. It helps me out massively. And let's jump into the next battle. This one is an absolute nightmare lead. This is going to be a Whiscash lead. Whiscash absolutely resists everything that Magcargo has to throw. It's absolutely awful for us. So we're going to swap to Pelipper, and really we need switch advantage. We can't have Magcargo lined up with this thing. It can't do anything. It resists the fire moves, resists the rock moves, and we actually shield the blizzard, which is absolutely huge, and we were kind of expecting them to swap out, so we were not wanting them to catch a move. We're able to bait them with a Weather Ball. We wouldn't have minded if it went through because we would have just thrown another, but since we get a shield, we're going to go straight for the Hurricane. Bang! Takes out the Whiscash. That is absolutely fantastic. That means Magcargo does not have to worry about this, and now they come in with a Registeel. And Registeel is not really a good answer to Pelipper. Pelipper can comfortably survive one charge move from Registeel. The Weather Ball spam is real. We're going to be able to put a lot of work in against this before Pelipper gets taken out. They're going to swap out to a Trevenant, and we're actually going to bring in Magcargo here, because then we can just bring in our Trevenant and Pelipper to deal with the Registeel. We could bring in Magcargo against Registeel, but also then you have to worry about the Focus Blast, which would probably one-shot. We're going to get a shield out of this Trevenant with the Rock Tomb, and now we've used up all our shields. We don't mind if this is a Shadow Ball. It's just a Seed Bomb. It's not going to do anywhere near enough damage, and the opponent surrenders. They must have hoped that Magcargo was squishier than that, but it's not. We're going to take that win. That opponent was absolutely not prepared for a Pelipper swap-in. Their best option probably would have been to bring in Trevenant straight away. At least the Shadow Claws do good neutral damage, and there is a lot of pressure there. Even though they're taking super effective from the wing attacks, it means that they're resisting the Weather Balls, so they can kind of go toe-to-toe, maybe get a shield out of us if they're threatening the Shadow Ball. Staying in with Whiscash and giving up there. I understand that they didn't swap out of Whiscash because Registeel can do okay against Magcargo, but they were in a tough position with that team, really. Now, Marshtomp lead, pretty much as bad as Whiscash for us. Again, resisting all the moves. It's just those Mud Boy type-ins that water and ground is really tough for Magcargo to deal with. Again, we're safe swapping Pelipper, and they bring in a Noctowl. And this isn't the worst thing for us. This is a pretty neutral matchup, I would say. We're both running wing attack, which is hitting for neutral on each other. They've got Sky Attack. We've got Weather Ball, which is a little spammier, but won't hit as hard. Noctowl is deceptively bulky. If we'd landed a Hurricane there, though, it probably would have just about taken them out. But we're opting to go for Weather Ball spam instead, since we landed one of them. And we might shield this, yeah, because we really need switch advantage. We have to keep Magcargo away from Marshtomp. Like, it really just hard walls us. I'm kind of worried they're going to shield here, but they don't. They let it go down. And even though they're up a shield, that's a monumental advantage for us, because Trevenant walls Marshtomp, and hopefully Magcargo's got more play against whatever's in the back. It's definitely worth going down a shield to keep Magcargo away from this thing. It really would be devastating for us. We're almost able to get to 2 Weather Balls there. We figured, I mean, they were trying to mudshot us down, but they just can't get it. But they've got a bit of energy stored up here, so they're going to have a move stored probably. They swap out to an Alolan Marowak, and we're going to build up, throw a Shadow Ball to either force the shield or knock them out, and then swap to Magcargo. They actually let it go through. Bang, absolutely annihilates them. Nothing the opponent can do now, and they choose to surrender. GG. And that's why I like the strategy sometimes of just go for the big move. Go for it, get the shield, or knock them out, because then we could have swapped to Magcargo, forced them to use their energy again to take us out, or we would have got to a Rock Tomb and dealt with them, and then Trevenant should have been able to clean up the game afterwards. Either way. Okay, let's talk Trevenant lead. This is a fantastic lead for Magcargo. The Incinerate's doing massive super effective damage. Nothing on the team really struggles with it, so if we lose switch advantage, if they do swap out, it's not the biggest problem. We've got our own Trevenant that can go toe-to-toe with it. Pelipper can go toe-to-toe with this thing. pretty comfortably. Now we get some major lag here, and GBL has been pretty shocking this season. It's always been a little bit naff, GBL, for lag spikes and things like that, but that was horrendous, and it looked like it was happening on both sides, and there's just not much you can do in that situation. You still got to go for it, got to throw the moves if you can, get the damage off, and it's just really unfortunate if you or the opponent is on the losing end of that situation. Now, this opponent actually brings in a Pidgeot afterwards and farms us down. We bring in Pelipper to meet them because we don't want to bring Trevenant anywhere near that gust damage. And they've got a Lowen Sandslash in the back, which isn't the best thing for Trevenant, but also we've got a shield advantage, so we go straight for the Shadow Ball, bang! Take them out. So that was really fortunate for us, because now they're going to farm us down with this Pidgeot, which is kind of scary. This Pidgeot is going to have so much energy, and they're just able to do it. We can't hit them very hard. The Shadow Ball's double resisted, the Seed Bomb's resisted. So we're going to not shield this and hope it's not a Brave Bird. It's a Feather Dance, thank God. And now if they throw, we are going to shield in case it's the Brave Bird, and we should be able to get to 2 Weather Balls before they get to... Now it's another Feather Dance, which is scary. So now we are double debuffed, but we should be able to get 2 Weather Balls off, and it should still be enough to take them out before they get a Brave Bird and take us out. We actually get an extra wing attack in there. I think we needed that to get to the Weather Ball. I think we were just a little bit of energy short. We take them out, we take the win. GG. Now realistically in that game, Trevenant didn't actually have that much play in the back, since both Pidgeot and Lowen Sandslash do pretty well against it, but the Pidgeot is a much harder wall, so it was fine to bring it in against the Sandslash, put some work in, and just make sure we preserve the Pelipper. Now, Frostlass lead, another absolutely awesome lead for Magcargo. Again, the Incinerate's hitting for massive super effective damage. You're resisting the avalanches, or you might be double resisting the avalanches actually. They do betas. I mean, you don't want to get hit by a Shadow Ball from a Frostlass if it's not resisted, because that's going to hit like an absolute truck. Throw the Overheat at Diggersby, and this, I don't know if that's necessary. This opponent actually now gets a huge lag spike, and I don't know if they throw a Mud Shot there, and we're kind of waiting, seeing what they want to do. In a normal situation, I don't think you need to throw an Overheat at the Diggersby if they swap in, because Pelipper's such a hard wall. This opponent does... We didn't want to throw the energy, we were waiting to see what they were doing. They threw 1 or 2 fast moves, but they're obviously lagging. Maybe that, or they threw their phone. This Frostlass seems laggy as well though, so this opponent must just be really struggling with the connection, which is really unfortunate. And now it's looking like they might have disconnected entirely. We're getting that long pause when throwing a charge move, and the Frostlass is really struggling to get any charge moves off at all. We're going to let this go. It does big damage as an avalanche, and they've got a Drapion in the back, and they could still flip this game around from this position, I think. No, we've still got full... Now, I forgot that Magcargo was still full health. Assuming that trainer was lagging and not just kind of throwing their phone aside and having a bit of a rage at it, then that was really unfortunate for them, because I think we could have had a really good game looking at these teams. Like the team they had, we can struggle quite a bit with the Drapion Safe Swap. The best option to bring in really is Pelipper, and that's not really a hard wall to it in that position. But either way, we're still able to take the win. Good game to that opponent, and apologies to them for the lag. But when it happens, you've got to go for it and just got to go for that win. Anyway, we're all on that grind for Legend rank. Alright, a few more games left for you guys, and here we've got a Machamp, a Shadow Machamp. This is an absolute nightmare lead. We're going to swap straight to Pelipper and see what this opponent decides to do. They're going to swap out to a Crustle, a Smackdown Crustle, and you can see those Smackdowns are doing monumental damage. We might be able to make it to 2 Weather Balls here. We get a shield from the first one, and even though we're not going to be able to make it to a Hurricane, so we're just going to throw a second one, do some big damage. It's not enough to take them out, and we are going to get farmed down. We might as well bring Magcargo in, because we know it's locked against the Machamp anyway, so we might as well just bring it in, not shield this up, see what they're going to throw. Throw a Rock Slide, massive damage. We're going to go for the farm down and then swap immediately to Trevenant if we can. We're not able to, the switch clock wasn't up yet. We brought in Magcargo way too fast after Pelipper went down. We should have definitely waited a bit longer before bringing it in, and we might have been able to preserve a bit of health, maybe a bit of energy on that, and not just get farmed down. Now they've got a Hypno in the back, and this means we've got a win con. Trevenant can potentially sweep this game. We're going to hopefully make it to this Shadow Ball. Now I think we have to shield this up. No, yeah, we're going to shield it up. It's a Fire Punch. That would definitely have taken us out there. We're going to build up as much as we can. We know that they were pretty much energy dry after that Fire Punch, but we didn't want to risk them getting to one last punch taking us out, but we want to be close to this seed bomb to get to it before they get to a rock slide. I think a cross chop would have pushed it a little close there. Shadow Machamp does hit hard, but it is double resisted. Either way, we get to the seed bomb, we take them out and take the win. GG. Trevenant able to absolutely sweep that game with the shield advantage at the end there, and sometimes you just got to do that. You got to give your shields to your back Pokemon and hope that it can carry you through. Alright, second to last game, and we've got a beautiful lead. Trevenant again, fantastic for the team to see as a whole, and Magcargo especially does very well with it. The swap out to Whiscash, and we almost swapped to Pelipper there. We almost swapped to the wrong Pokemon. We definitely want to bring in Trevenant here and just go to town because we resist the Mud Bomb they threw far too early for it to be a Blizzard. We're pretty sure they're not at a Blizzard now, so we can let this go again. We don't have to, if they built up more energy, we would be pressured to shield, but I think they were wanting to throw before we got to a Seed Bomb and wanting to not just lose all the energy, but that gives us freedom to farm up even more before we throw. We get a shield, we're going to throw another one, and this will take them out if they don't shield it. Bang! So now we've got shield advantage, we've got swap advantage. They bring in their Trevenant, and we're able to get to a Seed Bomb. We're not going to be able to get to the Shadow Ball. This is going to do decent damage. They're not shielding it up because obviously they're down a shield and they know that they're locked against the Magcargo anyway. So I think we're going to bring in Magcargo and just go for the farm down. This might be worth the shield in case it's Shadow Ball. I don't think it'd take us out, but it will get us pretty low. And I think when you've got shield advantage, it's worth taking that strong of a position. They actually bring in, is that a, it is a Steelix. So we're going to be able to get to an overheat here and just absolutely annihilate them. We Rock Tomb baited them, which wouldn't have mattered. We could have just thrown overheat, swapped to Pelipper, cleared the debuff and come back. But either way, good game to the opponent. We did hard counter city them there though. We really just had them locked down from the start. And just as proof that this team is not infallible, here is an absolute nightmare game that I'm going to leave you guys with. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed the content, consider liking the video, consider subscribing if you want to see more. I do recommend this team if you're stuck for a remix team and you're wanting to use Magcargo. I think it's a solid Pokemon, and Pelipper is a very, very strong safe swap, and Trevenant's also very strong in this meta. It's a pretty strong team. I think Magcargo is probably the spiciest thing here, but still, it is very, very strong. So, thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, I will catch you all next time.